When do we have a lagging power factor and when do we have a leading power factor? It depends on the nature of the load. Okay, so if I have a power triangle where the Q is pointing upwards, which is Q is positive, and the P by default is always going to be positive if we are dealing with a load that is consuming real power, right? And which tends to be the case always with all the different types of loads with certain exceptions. So we are consuming reactive power, and the type of load that consumes the reactive power is an inductor. So when we have the Q pointing upwards and the P is positive, the angle that we see over here, as you can see, the angle is going to be positive. The issue that I find students struggling with lagging power factor and leading power factor is that the theta power factor being positive for something that is lagging, it causes confusion. Because lagging by default intuitively would mean something that is falling behind or that is negative. Okay. I tell my students to slow down, sketch it out on a piece of paper, right? Remind yourself that lagging power factor loads are inductive in nature, and which means that we are consuming reactive power, which means that the Q is pointing upwards, and then you can clearly see that the theta power factor is going to be positive. Okay, so theta power factor is positive when we are dealing with lagging loads. Is that clear? Now, conversely, if I have a Q which is negative, and negative Q would basically mean what? Negative Q will basically mean that we are generating reactive power, right? Does it make sense, guys? So we are generating reactive power, and our capacitors generate reactive power. All right. So the capacitor, when it generates reactive power, the Q is going to turn negative, pointing downwards, y-axis, negative y-axis. And you can see that you don't need to memorize this. When you sketch a straight line for the apparent power, while the real power is still positive, this turns into theta negative. So this turns into theta negative. Is that clear? All right. If you take this diagrammatic stepwise approach to identify and deal with lagging versus leading, you're never going to forget it. And this can be one of my easiest tools in the toolkit to probe your understanding whether you truly understand power triangle or not. All right. And again, this goes back to a proper understanding of passive sign convention. Actually, circuit analysis itself is challenging because a lot of folks don't understand passive sign convention. All right. Impedance triangle is another way to thoroughly understand power factor. So when we are looking at complex power P plus JQ, right? If we peel the layer of this onion, we have impedance, a catch-all for real resistive load plus Jx for our reactive load. And this can further be divided into Xc, this can be further divided into XL. So our real power is associated with our resistors. Our reactive power, which is of two types, is associated with our inductive reactance or our capacitive reactance. Okay. So the angle that we see over here that we capture from the standpoint of a load, okay, tells us the load power factor. In the same way that our power triangle tells us the angle for the power factor. So the power factor can be calculated, the angle can be calculated looking at the load, the profile of the load, okay, which indirectly is impacting our apparent power and the power triangle. And same thing can be said for over here. So when I have an inductor, XL is pointing upwards because it's inductive in nature. And you can see that the lagging power factor of the load is resulting in a positive angle. When I have XC pointing downwards, because, and the value of XC, as you guys can see over here, given in the reference handbook, is minus 1 divided by omega C. So this is going to be a negative angle. Make sense? All right. So these are three different ways that you can look at power factor. The simplest, the most fundamental, the most basic and elementary is just memorizing this equation. Power factor is equal to P divided by S, which is equal to cosine theta, right? Throw all the questions at me and I'm going to be able to solve them. It doesn't happen. At these high stakes exams, F electrical and P power, if you're lucky, it could, but you have to have deeper understanding. You have to understand it graphically, diagrammatically, know the why behind the current lagging when we have an inductor, the current leading when we have a capacitor, right? And the power triangle itself is not just always focusing in the Q1, first quadrant. It can be rotating in quadrant 2, quadrant 3, quadrant 4. And when it does, what happens with P? What happens with Q? What is the meaning of a negative Q? What is the meaning of a negative P? What are the examples of devices that you can give me when we have a negative P and negative Q, negative P and positive Q, negative Q and positive P? Okay, this is easy because this is a load, and the load can have a real component which will always make the value of P positive because the resistor will always be consuming real power. But then the Q can be switching plus and minus. When the Q is plus, it means that we are consuming reactive power, and the inductor should come to your mind. When the Q is negative, it means that we are providing the reactive power, and capacitor should come to your mind. Okay, and then how is the power triangle connected to the leading power factor and lagging power factor? How does it impact the power factor angle? And how is the power triangle also linked to the impedance triangle? So in the last, I don't know, 20 minutes, 15 to 20 minutes, I hope that you guys have come across a few details about power factor, which you probably heard the very first time. Okay. And this is how I conduct my FE electrical program. This is how I conduct my P power program. Every single concept is broken down granularly in order to help you understand and appreciate the concepts inside out. And when you develop this level of understanding, no matter how a question is asked, you'll be able to tackle it fairly comfortably. I hope you enjoyed this session. Throughout this session, I tried to explain you things using first principle, which is an unbroken chain of logical explanations rather than relying on fancy terminology and scaffolding to help you sort of memorize and sort of take a plug and chug approach. These are fine details. They're going to serve you well not only with your FE electrical and computer exam preparation, but with the P power exam preparation. And with this clarity, basically comes the confidence that can help you save time, stress, frustration, and also unlock opportunities for you. The confidence that you gain from actual expertise and skills and competence, it shines through. It is very, very visible. You don't have to scream at the top of a mountain to tell everybody how competent you are. The way you conduct yourself in the meetings and the solutions that you provide, right? You will become the go-to expert, right? You'll have greater recognition. Early in the career, you guys probably know this, your progress is determined by your supervisors, right? By your managers, your likability, your professionalism, all of those things, punctuality, right? I'm talking about the first 5, 6, 7, maybe up to 10 years. In the long run, your growth is actually a function of the respect that you have amongst your peers, right? How many people are willing to follow you? How many people are willing to work with you? How many people are willing to sort of look at you as a leader? And that is a hard road to basically get to. Without competence, the confidence will never come through, and it becomes difficult. Okay, so if you want to adopt a learning mindset, and if you want to look at your FE electrical and computer exam preparation and the P power exam preparation with the goal of not just passing these exams, but with the goal of learning all of these concepts inside out and developing that competency and confidence, please consider my program at studyforfe.com. And there are different options over there. You can sign up for a monthly subscription, the on-demand, self-paced. You can get a 3-month access, a 6-month access. I conduct live training as well. And in addition to the self-paced program, on a weekly basis, we meet together and we basically work through the entire coursework in detail. Okay, both for FE Electrical and P Power. Yeah. So I hope you enjoyed the session, and thanks a lot for sticking around. Take care. Bye. If you're new to this channel, please consider subscribing. On a weekly basis, I'm creating content for FE Electrical and P Power exam preparation. I also discuss topics related to electrical engineering with a focus on power systems engineering. If you'd like to learn more about my FE Electrical and P Power exam preparation programs, please visit my website studyforfe.com.